Hello, everyone, and welcome to my step-by-step guide on how to teach your young athlete to hit a baseball. In this video, I will go through my past experiences of teaching the youth to hit a baseball and what I noticed and what you can do to teach them as well. So what I did here is that I had a 7-year-old hit off a tee and analyzed his swing. What I did here is that I saw the mistakes he made. I was looking at what mistakes he needed to improve on and fix in order to get his swing better. I'd write that down all in my notebook, and then I would analyze that and use that for a tee drill I would have him do later on. This is where I did the same idea I had with the 7-year-old, but this is now an older kid. He's 9, and I would, before he even swung, I would tell him what stuff he needed to do, what I saw in prior swings that he had made, and I just gave him some tips for what I wanted to see, what I needed him to improve on when he took these swings. I analyzed mistakes he made, although they weren't as abundant as you would find in a 7-year-old, but they definitely would be there. So I would write them down, analyze them, and do the same exact thing, and I would have him take some swings and use those swings as evidence to see what drills I needed him to do later on. So this is where I started to do some drills with him. In his swings, I noticed that he always had his elbow down, and having his elbow down means he's not going to have a good level of impact with the ball. So I wanted him to have his elbow up so that when he made a swing, his swing would be more level and he wouldn't keep popping the ball up. Because that's what a problem I assumed him to have. But when he kept his elbow up and level, basically at a 0-degree angle or not 45 degrees down, this is where he'd be able to make more level contact, hit more line drives, and not as many pop-ups as you'd think. And it would be more consistent hitting, and it would be easier for him to get on base more often. So at this point in time, I kept analyzing, and I figured out that one of the main reasons why I think his swing can improve is if he stopped flailing or leaning ahead after his swing, or also if he kept his head down. So what I told him to do is to make sure you keep your eye on the ball at all times. That way that he would be able to hit the ball more often, get better contact percentage, and also to keep his weight back, I had him make sure he kept more weight on his back foot, because after each swing he kept leaning forward and almost seemed like he took every bit of power out of his swing, which I needed him to stop doing because that was a main reason why he had less power. But once I got him to keep his weight back and not to lunge forward after his swing, that's when he started to make better contact, the bat sounded better, and basically everything in his swing began to improve just that much more. This is when I began to notice a repetitive action he kept doing. After each swing, he would just put the ball back on the tee and just swing once again. What I told him to do is just not rush his swing, and that taking time on the tee should not be a very quick thing, and that it should last a while in order to, get better reps in. And I told him that you're not going to be swinging this fast in the game. And I just told him just to keep it at a slower pace, to catch his breath, because I noticed more quality swings out of him was when he took time after his swing. Like when he took a breather, when he took a second just to reset and relax, I noticed that each swing would get better and better, and that he felt recharged after taking those short little breaks. So now I'm back with the 7-year-old, and after watching his first swings, I saw what he needed to improve on. So what I told him to do now is, again, with the 9-year-old, to keep his head down. Told him to turn his back foot. Told him to squish the bug almost as if he were stepping on a bug and squishing it. Basically turning your foot from being vertical to the plate to horizontal or parallel. Also told him to keep his elbow up, and also to keep both hands on the bat when he finishes swing, because if he lets go of the bat, that could be an ejection in some little leagues, which is what we definitely want to avoid. I also told him to stay more stable in his stance by bending his knees and not having his legs straight up like a tree. I told him to have some bend, get some more stability, and get in a more athletic stance. Hip turn was also a big factor. I told him to turn it basically the same principle as a squish the bug, just to turn your hip, because that's when you launch the ball and you use more of that lower half strength to hit the ball farther. And I also told him to balance after he swings. He shouldn't be flailing over like the other kid did. The balance after the swing made sure that he wasn't falling over, and gave him a better chance to make it to first out of the box if he didn't have great contact. So this is where I took the chance to grab the bat and basically explain him what I wanted him to do. I showed him a visual representation instead of me talking at him, which is a very helpful way to get them to do things. As I saw in his performance results after I showed him this, I told him basically just to make sure when you're about to swing, make sure that knob is facing the ball or the pitcher, I would say. So you can use like a flick technique to get the barrel out there and just make hard contact. Also told him things that to keep doing, just keep your weight back, squash the bug, keep that bat up, keep the elbow up. Basically all the same things that he's been trying to fix. I try to remind him because usually in this age group, it's something that comes repetitive and it's just natural to them. So just repetitive and consistent coaching about the things that they sort of lack and things they need to fix is very helpful. This is where we started doing some actual drills. This is where I taught them to use the bat shoulder technique. It's where you put your bat on your shoulders and have your arms basically hang on the bat. There's no ball on the tee, doesn't require any hitting, and you would step, make your load, and then you would fire. Basically, this would teach them to not only keep your head down, but to squish the bug. You have to implement them to use their legs more in their swing, which is what I saw they needed to do. So this made them have more hip twists and more thrust and more power. And this is what I told them to do. I had them go up there and take like 10 each and have them switch once or twice, and then we'd move on to the next drill. So this is where I implemented them another new drill, and it's basically talking about the knob and its placement. I'd have them stand really, really close to the tee, have them focus on, in their stance, the knob facing the catcher, and then I'd have them take a load and not even make a full swing, like a quarter swing is the most I made them do. That would mean their knob should be at the point of it facing the pitcher, or somewhat close to it. It has to be in that position. The bat has to be there. I focused them on that emphasis, and although they missed, I would still get the point across of what they needed to do. I just have them go up there, take like 20, because this is a very important drill. I just make sure that every time they took that quarter swing, that they'd be hitting the knob or something close to it. If it wasn't the handle, then the drill wasn't done properly. But I just have them hit the knob, do it over again until it became natural to them. And then once I saw them take swings later, the evidence and the work paid through. It will show later in the video. But this is a very important drill, and this should not be excluded from any of drills with them. So this is where I had the 7-year-old do the same exact thing as a 9-year-old did. Although his mistakes were more common, he still got the concept, and it still ran along with him, and I think he understood what it meant. This translated towards his natural swing, which is what the whole point of the drill is. Helped him to get more power in his swings, which is what I noticed later on. And it's a very helpful drill, and I think this drill could be used in a lot of other younger athletes, and I think it'll make a big difference. So if you're going to try this with your athlete, I'd say give it a go, because it's very helpful. After watching the video, we learned that first, you need to make them have their natural swing, and you got to analyze their natural swing. What I did is I had my notebook out, and I would just write things down about what I thought they needed to improve on and the things that they needed to do in order to make their swing better. Second, help them during their natural swing. Although these are not going to be the drills that they're going to be doing, it's good to give them some adjustments and some ideas of what to do in the next 2 or 3 swings, because that's gonna show you how much a difference these drills can make, and how much just a simple improvement or adjustment can make to their swing. Third, we also learned that these drills are super important. Baseball without drills is just going to be not good, These kids need these drills. I mean, this is super important at a young age, because the perfect swing does not come very quickly. It's not a swing that comes during the middle of the night. A perfect swing is worked on through years and practice and effort. So making sure that they can do these drills properly is the first step into giving them that beautiful swing. But thank you for watching. I hope your lessons with your young athlete go great.